my dance friends, and welcome to my channel. Today I get to chat with Silvia Salamanca. Silvia is an internationally acclaimed performer, choreographer, and instructor from Mallorca, Spain. She's danced since she was a little girl, majored in dance, and performed professionally as a modern dancer in major European festivals with the Contemporary Dance Company of the University of Barcelona. She started her career as a belly dancer, taking her inspiration primarily from Middle Eastern style dances, flamenco, and regional dances from her childhood, and has created her own signature style of Spanish-influenced fusion dance. Having been heavily influenced what has been referred to as tribal fusion, Silvia has combined this style with dances of her own cultural roots. She has gained international recognition and is currently invited to teach workshops and perform as a headliner in major dance festivals around the world. If you haven't seen Silvia perform before, she evokes all the emotions. She can pour her heart out on stage with a more somber or serious piece, but what she is also really well known for are her performances, including balancing props, very fast, upbeat music and movement, and really getting the audience super excited, whether it's an audience of dancers or audiences at Renaissance Fair who may be witnessing fusion dance for the first time. She has her student troupe Balam Tribe, her professional troupe Shunyata, and she also is an artist with the troupe Urban Hipsy, previously known as Urban Gypsy. Today we're going to talk about how Silvia found her way to Middle Eastern influenced dance, what inspires her to create her solo and troupe choreographies, and how performing at a variety of venues, from restaurants to Renaissance festivals to large stages at dance conventions worldwide, has influenced her performance style and aesthetic. So without further ado, here's Silvia. Hi Silvia!
Hi Blair!
It's good to see you. Super excited to finally get to ask you some questions I've been dying to ask you myself about your dance journey and all that you give to the world from what you produce in your dance. You do a Spanish fusion style that is really unique to you, and I would love to know how you got into dance in the first place and who some of your biggest inspirations have been.
I began belly dancing by chance. I began dancing when I was 5. I began what is considered a very normal training in Spain, which is ballet and flamenco. Meaning usually when you say, no, I want to dance, you don't do one thing without the other. And then later on, I went into the formal studies in the conservatory, and even if I was not specializing in what we call classical Spanish, which is flamenco, I was receiving flamenco classes. You have to do a minimum of those, no matter what, to get a degree in dance, period. I kept doing ballet and later on modern dance. And at the age of 23, I was done with having spent my entire life in a semi-professional background where I felt very demanded and I couldn't relax, and I didn't have the best of experiences with instructors and choreographers. So I just wanted to stop all demands and go like, okay, let me see what life is about, you know. Also, I never thought I would become a professional dancer. It was something that I did on the side, but you cannot call it a hobby, you know. I was going for college as a biochemist. I made it to Houston because my professor knew somebody at the medical center. So I've been in biochemical research for around 8 years. My journey did an entire circle. You know, like, I want to be a dancer. Well, but you don't have the body to be a dancer. Okay, then I'll do something else, but I want to continue dancing. I'm going to try to do the science thing. Wait a minute, I'm not agreeing with a bunch of things that I see in pharmaceutical company. What is this thing? And that is when Middle Eastern dance, belly dancing, comes into my life. At 24, I'm in the middle of my PhD between Barcelona and Houston, and I just needed to dance. I stopped dancing for a year, and I was like, I need to move. And there was an advertisement in a community center in Barcelona for Middle Eastern belly dance classes. So I showed up with one of my friends, and class number 1, I fell in love. I did not intend to become a professional. I just knew that I found something that moved me deeply and moved me in ways where my body never moved before. So the connection that I felt with parts of myself that needed to breathe was gigantic. As time was evolving and I kept practicing and improving in belly dance, my teachers were telling me, if you ever wanted to give it a shot professionally, you could do this. And I looked right and left, and I looked at the professional performances that I was seeing, and I thought, yeah, my body was not cut for ballet, I get it, but hold on, yeah, there's nothing that prevents me from, And as I decided to change gears, I thought, let me give this a shot. Here is where the Spanish fusion comes into it. I began dancing professionally. What I have learned from Middle Eastern teachers and so on. My first teacher in Spain that I trained with for 3.5 years was from Morocco, and was just a Moroccan woman that learned from her mother and her grandma and all of these things. I came to America and I discovered back in the day the beginning of the belly dance superstars. Miles Copeland was having auditions. So I went to do an audition and I made it to the finals of that audition. And by the way, one of the finalists in that audition was Mariah Chappelle. Imagine. So there I am. I made it to the finals, but I didn't make it any farther. But at that moment in time, there were people from all over the world, and somebody from the Netherlands was watching these auditions. And 3 months after, I get an email going, we saw you, we thought you were great, would you like to come teach a workshop here? And I went, and I'm beginning to study tribal, 15 years ago we called it tribal. And they were like, no, we already have our tribal instructor, it's Rachel Bryce. So my first workshop, was taught in a festival where there were 4 teachers: Gilina, Rachel Bryce, Marty Love. And I was like, is there anything in mind that you like me? And she's like, do you know anything about flamenco? And I was like, I do. I didn't think at that time that what we do in Spain, what it's called flamenco árabe or Spanish fusion or baile gitano, would be of any interest whatsoever outside. But it was the opposite. It was very interesting to learn. On the 3.5 years that I did in Spain of Middle Eastern dance, 1 out of 3 workshops was in Andalusia style, which is this flamenco árabe that I'm talking about, which is when the Moors occupied the south of Spain. So it's very common in my country. Of course, there is plenty of flamenco in it. Well, actually, flamenco was an evolution of that. And I thought, sure, I can do this with both hands both hands on my back. And I'm assuming that I feel what people in the Middle East feel when we want to learn their village dances or the folkloric dance. So you guys want to learn my folklore? No problem. I created my first performance with a pop song that I really like. And I blend all of what I knew with that pop song. And then I taught more historically accurate moves. And it was a hit. And from there I was like, all right, it seems that people want to learn this. And then I began looking at who was teaching what it's been called in the circuit Zambra Mora. And Zambra and Mora are 2 words from Caló, which is a dialect that the Gitanos speak in Spain. Zambra means party, Mora means Moorish. It's not Spanish, it's Caló. All right. And I thought, hold on. This woman is teaching Zambra, this woman is teaching Zambra, and none of them are from Spain. Hold on a second, let's talk about this. I felt like, okay, no, I can do this with all legitimacy, humbleness towards what I don't know about Middle Eastern dance, but pretty much an everyday knowledge of what I do know of my own country. So I am 1/16 Gitana, was Gitana that we know of. I suspect that there is more Gitano blood on my parents' side, but we don't know, of course. Things were messy. So it was initially a commercial demand, but once I began dancing, I felt something in me waking up and very, very connected to the blend of the flamenco and the Middle Eastern, which are not far away, as I say. Historically, the south of Spain was occupied during 800 years by the Moors. And that's where flamenco was born, from the Gitanos that arrived there and were with the Arab culture for that long time. So it's not like we're fabricating something new and just recovering roots that I know I have. I am from that part of the country. So after that, it was a journey of exploration and expression. And I'm very, very thankful that in the community, it is welcomed, that we're welcome to make the art a constant evolution.
So your primary inspirations were what you grew up with then and what you were kind of seeing in the belly dance superstars realm?
Absolutely correct. From where I grew up to coming to America and discovering the belly dance superstars, and like half of us say, I saw Rachel Bryce and I went, what is that? And I want to do that. Also, I'll say one of my inspirations is very close home. I witnessed Sahira at the Texas Renaissance Festival with Gawazi dress from Domba back in the day. She was doing tribal steps on a stage, and I had never seen anyone with a turban and the wazi and all that. And I was like, I want to learn from that woman. So I approached her then and there. She gave me the card of what it was just being born as the troupe formerly known as Urban Gypsy. We recently changed the name to Urban Gypsy. This is a conversation to have, but as we learn and we evolve about appropriate and non-appropriate terms, we rename things accordingly to learn to be more respectful to everyone. But I've never saw that style before, and she was kind enough to say, come, take all my classes, which I did. 3 years later, I became a member of the troupe.
You perform with a variety of props at a variety of venues. You are high energy. You just bring it out of your audience, and it's so amazing to watch. What inspires you to create your performances and choreographies? And is that different if it's for your own solos versus one of your troupes?
Yes, it's absolutely different. And it is absolutely different for the dance conventions than when it is for a show. I learned quite quickly when I began dancing professionally that there is a difference between art and entertainment. And when we get paid professionally to dance at venues like restaurants, they're not interested in diving deep into the human soul. They want to go out, watch something beautiful, and be happy. So I call that entertainment. I'm very inspired when I perform in Middle Eastern places to honor their culture. I'm very much aware that I don't know enough, but I try to stay as true to the songs and the steps that go with a certain song and the lyrics, what they mean, and the costuming, to make sure that I am giving a good show for the place. Creating solos for that is easy because it's very much repeating the steps that I learned from all my different teachers that I know are correct and accurate, and then having my heart come out of that. For the troupe, because I don't create the choreographies of Urban Gypsy, it's a co-effort. Shunyata I create, and that's another beast, right? Because the Texas Renaissance Festival, it's quite brutal when it comes to audiences. You have to keep the energy there almost constantly, and they don't appreciate Middle Eastern steps the way that the Middle Eastern audience appreciate it. What do I mean? I mean that if I am dancing at a Persian venue and I play a song called Baba Karam and I put a little scarf under my neck and I do a couple of these steps, everybody screams and yells because it's Baba Karam. We do that at Ren Fair and no one's going to pay attention. They want to see virtuosity in dance. So you have to bring the most spectacular pop and lock and big hips and big undulation movements when it comes to the bodies. Or, full disclosure, I rely a lot in props. And it's curious. We can be doing something extremely intricate and difficult with our abdominal layer, and it will be looked as, oh, that's cute, but we put a tray on top of our head and shimmy, and the entire audience is going to lose it. What inspires me for Shunyata is actually the energy and the joy that I have a big stage, something that I don't have many times in restaurants. To choreograph for a group of dancers that are extraordinary, I am blessed with the best team in the universe. And when we go to dance conventions, I saw that that was the space for art. That we are not just interested in entertain us, which we embrace, but if somebody had something deeper to say, that was it. My journey began evolving after a few years teaching workshops and saying, hold on, I don't need to stay here, I can take it one step farther. And very naturally, we can process pain and trauma through the creation of art. And that pushed me first to create something crazy with my swords in the beginning, and later on to do it with my flamenco fusion, that at that point I break all borders and I brought my modern dancing into it as well. I was like, I don't know what's going to come out of my body, but here you have it. It worked, and there was a lot of pain healed during the creation and in the performance of those choreographies. And nowadays I can do both. I can process difficult things, or I can express joy or whatever I am in my life journey. And full disclosure, Diana Soto and I are plotting to create a long show, not just one piece, that it's a fusion of everything that we mentioned, and it involves a lot of healing violence for women.
Sylvia, as we discussed, you perform at a variety of venues. As you've had such a plethora of experiences and stages, how has that affected your dance style and your aesthetic for performance?
It has made me want to use the opportunity that I have when I know I'm going to have a theatrical setting and create the pieces that can go there. I enjoy dancing for sure, but I enjoy the most the theatrical settings. When I am in a restaurant having to go around tables and making sure that the hookah is not burning my costume, I cannot let go the same that I can let go on a big stage. It reminds me of how lucky I am to have those settings, to know that not everybody gets to go on a big stage and be able to have the lighting, the this and the that. When I know I'm gonna have that setting, it's like, okay, let me create something where I can let go completely.
So I know that you are going to be teaching and performing at Migrations at the end of January, Sunday, January 31st, and this is a virtual class, and you're also performing with your troops and as a solo artist.
My mind is still blown that Migration keeps having me as an instructor. I'm like, are these people gonna get fired on me or what? And I will continue to support Migrations forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Can you tell us about anything else that's going on this month?
Oh yeah, I can. Oh yeah, I can. January 22nd, on a safe environment, Shunyata, one of my beloved fusion bellydance troupes, has scored, I would say, one of the very, very few full-time shows. It's going to be like an hour long of fusion belly dancing in a venue that has a gorgeous stage and safe tables. And we hope to be able to continue delivering monthly this kind of dancing. In Houston, you can see plenty Middle Eastern venues with their Middle Eastern traditional show, but we don't see fusion shows like the ones that we can see at the Texas Renaissance Festival. So I'm bringing now into H-Town, and I am stoked about it. We want it to be a blend of professional dance that is appealing to the main street audience with a community space. We intend also to see how it goes and bring guests, troops, or guest dancers to be incorporated into the shows.
You're also teaching online right now, right?
I am, yes. And it's gonna stay. Anyone who wants to join in, they can. I have a little studio, it's called Blair, and it's very much like a little underground place. It's a very nice studio inside. It's rented from the LBTG church in Houston. When the pandemic hit, I realized about the amount of studios that were forced to close because the commercial rent is very high, and I had the blessing that mine was still affordable for me to get open. So let me say, the doors of Balama Studio are open. If anyone around the Houston area wants to rent the space, it's dirt cheap. Talk to me. We can make an arrangement. We can trade. We can do anything you need.
Well, thanks so much for visiting today, Sylvia. It was so great to see you, and I wish you a very happy new year.
Happy new year and all my love.
Bye. That's it, guys. I'll be linking all of Sylvia's information for her upcoming events, including Migrations and Shunyata's upcoming live performance at the Red Dwarf in Houston, as well as information on how you can join her online classes. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel so I can continue to make more videos like this for you. Thanks so much, guys.
Deep fried turkey. It was delicious. That's the truth.